Wait.
Every day, physicians go above and beyond to care for their patients and build a stronger healthcare system. Today, as we celebrate National Physicians Day, we are recognizing the physicians' commitment to improving the health of chronic pain sufferers. In today's show, we're going to be kind of discussing the difference between a physician and a doctor, a lot of things people don't know, addressing and highlighting our physicians, a part of our personal healthcare team, and also touching a little bit on alternative medicine practitioners. Of course, we'll be diving into our question of the week. Which of your health physicians do you appreciate and why? Are you ready for another chronic pain conversation? Let's go. Hello, and welcome to Chronic Pain Conversations. My name is Sharifa McLaren, and this is my lovely co-host, Kalila Bruswell. This is a show where we have open and honest dialogue about chronic pain. We share on our experiences, acknowledging the wide variety of chronic pain diagnoses, and look at ways to manage chronic pain. So, it's that time again. We're going to jump right into pain or pleasure to get a status up on where both our bodies are at for this show. Kalila?
Well, you guys, I look like I'm in pleasure. My mind is, my body's in pain. My love, Rifa, I was without sleep for over 48 hours just 2 days ago.
Wow.
My body just wouldn't let me sleep. I managed to get 2 hours sleep this night. And I think it's just the change in the season and the temperature.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure a lot of our chronic pain conquerors know how I'm feeling. But girl, I am in so much pleasure because not only have we started a nonprofit, but we're about to go into some business adventures together. So if you guys want to know how we are helping our chronic pain community financially, with their health, and just in wealth in general, you guys need to send us a DM.
Yep, definitely.
Teresa, how you doing today, my love? How you doing?
I can't even complain. I'm all pleasure. I had a very long week last week, a lot going on around me, but we've gotten it together and we're getting back on track. I'm excited about today's show. Oh my goodness, my heart is like overwhelmed with joy because we're touching on some fantastic people today. And like you said, we are going into some business ventures. Life is just about to move forward in the right direction. And I cannot complain whatsoever. I mean, I'm in pain, to be honest with you, and I'm hungry, but the pleasure is like, no, and the pleasure is overpowering all that pain. So I am ready to dive right in.
I'm just going to ask one question. When aren't you hungry?
You're right. You're absolutely right. You're right.
Okay, let's get into it. So what are we talking about today? We're talking about physicians, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so first off, we want to take you through the process, you guys, of what it was for us to get that definition of a physician. Because I was like, doctors, but no.
Nope.
The definition of a physician is a person qualified to practice medicine.
Mm-hmm.
A doctor, they have a different title. They have the ability to go and get their doctorate, not just in science, in theology, in a wide variety of things. When people come out of school with their masters and their bachelors, they're coming out with their doctorate.
Right.
So you can be a doctor, but not a physician. And a physician, which is the craziest thing, says it deals with medicine.
Can I say something?
Go ahead, girl.
Listen. I'm listening to you explain this. And mind you, we do our research together, guys.
Yes.
It was not like this doing our research. We were like back and forth. And I kid you not, this is the first time where I'm just like, yeah, I get it now. Because we were so confused.
I get it. I really actually, I mean, like, I understood some of it and it made sense to me, but then we were getting
Mhm.
really into those definitions.
Right,
And so
right.
what happened was, is that we actually had that thing where we were talking about, you know, um, we were talking about one of the things, you guys, is that we wanted to get into a couple of things like our chiropractor, our massage therapist. Like when we planned this conversation, we were
Yeah,
like, do you know how many people I want to say thank you to? And
yeah,
then we found out, wait a minute, why isn't the massage therapist? Why isn't the chiropractor? Why
yeah.
isn't the nutritionist? Why isn't the physiotherapist considered into medicine?
Right.
And it came down to that word. It's medicine. They have the
Hmm.
ability to deal, work, prescribe, give you, inject you with medicine. And
Right.
everybody else is kind of like that alternative. They call it alternative practitioners. They don't call it
Yes.
alternative medicine. So we want you to know this, educate yourself in terms of who's a doctor, who's a physician, who is an alternative medicine,
Hmm.
because you need to be aware of who's saying what to you
Right.
and what areas of expertise and help you can get help in. Is that making
Right.
sense? Okay.
Makes total sense. Now, Kalila, I think we should maybe give them an example
Okay.
of, you talked about alternative practitioner, you talked about your actual physician.
Hmm.
So someone like a dermatologist,
Okay. Are they a doctor or a physician?
what do you think?
They are considered, I would have thought that they were a doctor, but we found out they're a physician.
Yes, they are. Because dermatologists, some people just think dermatologist deals with skin.
No.
No, it deals with your skin, your hair, your nails. It's very more than just, your skin itself. So there's a, hey, we thought
Yeah.
about this. What about your chiropractor, Kalila?
I'm so mad. I am so mad that they are not considered a physician. I was like, these people heal my body. What do you mean they're not? But they
They're
don't
not
deal with
considered a
medicine.
physician. Yep,
And I'm
yep,
okay with that because I like my alternative medicine that
yep.
isn't always injecting me or putting me with pills and injections, and they're
Right,
giving me alternative ways. But we are focusing on physicians today. So let me come back to where we're
right.
supposed to be.
So I'm going to give you one more.
Okay.
What about what about pharmacology slash toxicology medicine? So we're dealing with pharmacists and
Okay.
people that make your medications.
I know that is a physician. And I
Yeah,
know that's a physician because the pharmacist always deals with medicine.
deals
They're
with medicine. Yep.
and they're the person all the way at the back of the pharmacy. That's like their title, whereas everybody else is kind of like the person in the front.
Right.
So, it's kind of like the
Right.
nurses in the doc. He's the doctor. He's the
Yeah.
physician in the back. So I knew that one. That one I knew.
Yeah. It's just very interesting going, and there's a lot more. There's a wide variety of different things you would never think of. Like we even came across plastic and reconstructive surgery. Like it's so much out there.
We found the top 20 most sought after, or highest paying physicians.
Right.
But then when we went to the American Medical Association and we were looking at things, there is over about 40 plus different actual titles. And
Yeah.
then there's even subtitles in it. So
Yeah.
you might be a psychiatrist, not a psychologist, but a psychiatrist, because again, they prescribe you with medicine.
Right.
But then there's the child psychiatrist and then the youth psychiatrist,
Yeah.
or even those that work with people in the jail that
Mhm.
are psychiatrists in that manner. So there's a lot of subheadings, but there's at least 40 plus, and
I
these numbers
mean,
are.
it's a
Did you
lot.
know that?
I didn't, to be honest with you. I think it was more of we were not aware. We weren't so much aware. We maybe knew there was a lot, but when we saw the specific names and how they specifically were, like, I think
Yeah.
that's where the surprise came, because there was even some in just the top 20 that I was like, what?
What you
Really?
talking about? Where we're sitting?
Yeah. So it's very interesting. I feel like this show, like preparing for this show, was even just a lesson for us, much less us sharing with other people.
Oh, definitely, definitely. Okay, so tell me a little bit about some of your stories. So, who is who is a physician that you have been thankful for as a chronic pain conqueror? Um, do you want to go through that? Like, I mean, I've got mine, but is there somebody that you like that you've
Okay,
been like,
so I have two. So I'll give you
okay,
my first one, and you give yours, and we'll kind of go back and forth.
let's go, let's go.
Okay, so my first one, I'm gonna save the best for last. My first one is what do you call him? I'm so sorry. My vascular surgeon. So I actually
Wait,
never,
stop, stop, stop. Vascular. Please define.
no problem. So vascular meaning they deal with your main arteries and veins throughout your body.
And how does this associate with your chronic pain?
So I suffer with chronic kidney disease. Okay. So with that being said, quick backstory, I have a catheter that I use for dialysis.
Mm-hmm.
At one point, I didn't want the catheter here anymore. And so I went to a vascular surgeon to get reconstruction on my veins in my arm to make that a method of getting treatment. So instead of using the catheter, I would then do needles.
Got you.
Long story short, I had to get a plastic piece inserted in my arm. This happened to both arms. This one story happened to both arms. It was an artificial vein.
I remember this.
Right. Artificial vein attached to my main artery in my arm.
Okay.
Both times it happened, they both got rejected and my arm got infected.
That's not cool.
No. Long story short, I had one surgeon first. Wasn't a bad surgeon. And for some reason, I think it's fate, I got put onto Dr. Rochnagel. Toronto General vascular surgeon, absolutely amazing. And I kid you not, for about 2 years, he was everything when it came to my vascular surgery. Okay. And I remember one time I was so frustrated. I was literally 9 months going back and forth to hospital because my stitches either bust open, my arm's swollen, and then the staple popped out. So my arm, it was a hot mess. Aww. And I never forget, I was in the hospital. I was sleeping, woke up, blood all over my sheets, everything, and I freaked out. You ever see the ER shows where they're like on top of the patient applying pressure and they're rolling through? I kid you not. I was scared, but I was so excited because I'm like, I'm in a movie. Oh my God, like everything, like they're running and the doctor's literally over me compressing my arm while there's people pushing him on top of me. Like it was that serious. And I never forget, I went in the OR and they were prepping me really quick and I started crying and he stood over me and he held my hand. He held my hand. I'm getting emotional. He held my hand and he's like, everything is going to be okay. We're going to take care of you. And I promise you, we're not going to stop until we fix your issue. And I kid you not, it was to the point where even after surgery and I was discharged and I was okay. I'm so sorry.
No, I was man, okay. This is your life. We're talking about your life.
I had to go back to him and I got him a Starbucks gift card. I had to go and properly thank him because it wasn't even just a matter of fixing the issue. It was a matter of in the moment. He took my feelings into consideration to understand, like at this time I was 25. No, I lied. I was 23. Sorry. I was 23, so young, going through so much things all at one time. And I just feel like at that moment, he took my feelings into consideration. It wasn't about getting the job done. It wasn't about patching her up and having another surgery on her shoulder. I just feel like he was genuinely like, you're not leaving here until we figure out what's going on and make sure that you are okay.
You weren't a number, you were a person.
Right. And that I feel like that's all we need. Mm-hmm. Sometimes that's all we need. So one of my doctors, I'm going to say, is Dr. Rochnagel. If you're watching this, I appreciate you so much. You don't even understand. I hope I don't have to come to you again, but just know you my ride or die surgeon.
Hey.
Now we shedding tears over here. Like, oh my goodness.
That's what it's supposed to be, mama. Like, what I guess what I love about today is the fact that when we are in these, like, people don't know, but when we're in these Facebook groups and when we're in these social groups, we hear a lot of people in pain simply because their physicians aren't hearing them, aren't
Hmm.
treating them like they're a human, aren't treating
Hmm.
their issues like they're real.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
on a day like today, where worldwide there's this physician day, there are good physicians, there are good people that went and
Absolutely.
purposely spent money to study because they wanted to help us, you
Absolutely.
know. And so I'm so thankful, and I'm glad that you're in tears, because this is what we want people to know. Like, we want people to know there are physicians out there that
Hmm.
truly care about us. Because
Yep.
based on what you're saying to me, and you're like, he's not even your number one, you might not be on the show with me right now.
Hmm. Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yep.
I'm thankful to you, doctor, for being there for Sharifa.
Yeah.
I'm thankful that you kept the breath of life in her, not because I have a show with me, but because I have a friend that is still my family and
One
she's still
hundred
breathing.
percent.
So I don't even know who you are, but thank you so much.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Hmm. Hmm. I guess I'm up next, aren't
Yeah.
I? Okay, fine. Here we go. So, um, I, I'm going to be really realistic and very transparent. I
Hmm.
don't have a number one. I have worked so hard to have a clinical team that
Hmm.
I respect, because I see them doing different things that I truly respect, so many of them. One that the first one that comes to mind is Dr. Lai, and he's over in the North York Medical. And what's so amazing is that he was creating a legacy before I even came into his life.
Hmm.
Like, this is a gentleman who really is just a physician, and then his life led him into a place where he was helping people and dealing with chronic pain, and he elevated himself, and now he's the gentleman that gives me my nerve block injections. But I don't just have anybody giving me my nerve block injections. I have the person that's at the board of the directors. I have the person that sat down and helped create the York Medical Clinic. He thought about people, where to
Right.
put which place, all of these things.
Hmm.
And it's really funny because, you know, I never wanted to get nerve block injections. Honest to goodness, Sharifa, it took almost 2 years for me to really break down and be like, fine, I can't sleep. I'm in so much pain. I'm crying. And I met him on my birthday. And what was really interesting was people would have thought that I was like being over extra. But when you go to these pain clinics, they give you like a booklet that's like 36 pages that you have to sign and agree that you won't do this, or you have to do this, or you have to. And when I went in there, they were talking about certain kind of opioids and, drug overdoses. And I was like, I'm not answering this. I'm
Hmm.
not doing this. And the nurse at the front, she, um, I asked certain questions with regards to this form. And I was like, she's like, well, you can't see it till you see the doctor. And I was like, I'm not signing it until I understand what it means. And if you can't tell me. And so they kind of went back and forth. So I know when he first met me, he was kind of like, okay, who's this chick? Why is she kind of causing problems out there?
Hmm.
But he knows that we've had this conversation. So he knows when he sees me, I'm not coming just for the regular, I'm not just coming on a regular basis. I'm coming
Right.
because I do need you, because I don't want to be injected with this
Right.
stuff. He educates me on what he is putting in my body. He tells me where he's putting it. He'll tell me where there's side effects. He'll ask me how the aftermath is. He'll make me laugh in the middle of it. He doesn't just come in and be like, okay, turn over. There's this point where I feel like I know about him. Now, he doesn't open up about his whole life with me. He doesn't have to. But there's this point where I appreciate him for the legacy that he has built
Hmm.
unintentionally, but it affects me. You know what I'm saying? And so he's been dealing with his own health issues, and yet he's still over there helping so many people, making us laugh, and it's one of those things where I hate, no, like, Sharifa, I hate getting nerve block injections. Like I hate it. I hate it. Um, but I know that I need it to be that extra top off to keep me going sometimes. And now I'm crying. And, and I never have to worry about being in this man's hands. I never worry if he's gonna miss the vein or the mark. I never worry. Like we have this thing that even while he's injecting me, if in certain places it hurts more than other places because you're literally having something pushed into your veins and it's making you uncomfortable. And he'll talk me through it. He'll apologize for it. But the fact that I can walk into an office in an environment that was is still scary to me sometimes
Yep.
because each injection can affect you differently. I never have to worry about the person whose hands I'm in.
Right.
I never have to fear about that because not only am I, it's not even just about his education, but it's about his heart.
Yep.
It's about the the things that he has done in his life in a way that now has me meeting him, and I feel so safe with him.
Right.
I need to feel safe with a physician.
Mm-hmm.
I need to feel
Absolutely.
safe that I'm not just in a time where Ontario OHIP is in and out of 10 minutes, you know, and we're like we need more than 10 minutes. I don't have to worry about that with him.
Right.
And when I see him, I know I'm walking out better, or or at least not in as much pain. So he is my first one that I would love to highlight because funny enough, he helps get me stronger, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and I didn't realize how much I needed his services and his
Right.
education.
Right.
But honest to goodness, guys, I would not be able to always elevate my body. I would be scared to push the plateau to grow my pain tolerance all over again if I didn't have this man in my corner, knowing that, if I push myself purposely so that I can be able to walk for half an hour when I can only
Mm-hmm.
walk for 5 minutes right now, he's got my back. So
Right.
I just want to give it up to Dr. Lai at North York Medical. Thank you. Thank you for being in my life.
I'm thanking him as well because I see the difference when you don't get the nerve block and when you do. When you don't, Khalila's moving. But when she does, Khalila's moving.
Okay.
Definitely a big help.
All right. Let's go to our second one. We're spending so much time.
I
Give me
know, I
one more.
know.
Give me
Okay,
one.
my last one.
Okay.
My best for last. I'm gonna say he's my best for last because I see him, I deal with him all the time. I've been dealing with him for um for 8 years now. From the
Wow.
very beginning, from my very diagnosis, years now. Um, my nephrologist.
Say
I
that
there's so much.
again. Slow, slow. Say that
Sorry,
again.
nephrologist. So not a neurologist. Neurologist is with the brain. Nephrologist is kidney stuff, kidney organ stuff.
This is your lupus. Okay.
So he's a specialist for just my kidneys, but I'm gonna tell you something that's amazing about him.
Okay.
His specialty is kidneys, but when it comes to me and my lupus, he just knows. And I realized that when I have appointments with him, he would tell me, I've taken the time to look into this and look into that. And it's just like, sometimes he's more focused on the lupus because the lupus is like what brings him over into dealing with the kidneys. And I'm appreciative of Dr. Michael Pandas. He's in York Region from Mackenzie Health. I'm appreciative of him because he shows me that he takes the time to understand me and
Mm-hmm.
what I deal with. It's not just kidneys for him. He knows that, yes, it's kidneys, but she also deals with lupus. So whatever I'm treating her for one, I have to be careful due to the other because what might be good for one isn't always good for the other.
Right.
I appreciate him 100%, and I'm going to tell you why. 1 year into me getting referred to him and taking him on as my kidney specialist, I got admitted into hospital for about 2 months. My birthday was coming around and I was like, this cannot be real. Day before my birthday, I went into a depression. I took
Oh.
no visits. I remember this vividly. I took no visits. And so birthday came around and I was not having it. My nurses came in with cupcakes, wrote on the whiteboard happy birthday, and woke me up to a song, everything, because I was the youngest one on the floor. So they were like, they felt, And so that brought up my spirit a little bit. Day went on. All that being said, I hear a knock on the door. So I'm like, okay, I'm not really expecting anyone. Everyone's at work. Like, who could it be? Dr. Pandas walked in with flowers, a card, and a teddy bear. And I immediately burst into tears. And I bursted into tears, one, because I said, I only know this. I'm going to try not to cry. I've only known this man for, at this point, a year and some. What doctor takes time out of their busy schedule to come downtown from York region to bring you flowers, teddy bear, and a card? Oh, and ask for my chart, to look at my chart and make sure that I'm getting the right treatment. From that, I was like, no, I tell my mom all the time. She's like, who's the doctor today? I'm like, it's my OG. She's like, oh, Dr. Pandas. I kid you not, I drop everything for him because he takes his time with me to understand, to review, ask how things are going. He sometimes even says, hey, did you watch the basketball game last night? Like, he's just such good bedside manners. And for 8 years, he's been my ride or die. And I get a little soft spot when I think about, getting a kidney and then maybe not really seeing him as much anymore. But again, Dr. Pandas, if you're watching this, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for, I don't even want to say for what you do for me, because I think everyone who speaks about you has nothing but good to say. Thank you for what you do for all of your patients in general. You're an amazing soul. And honestly, words cannot describe how I feel about you. And all I can really say with true, genuine feelings is thank you. I didn't cry. I made it out.
You didn't cry. I think what is happening is, like, as I'm hearing you, I think that's why we're honoring them today. That's why I'm
Yeah.
thankful for National Physicians
Yeah.
Day,
Yeah.
because I'm really sorry for our conquerors that are out there that, they don't have the kind of physicians that we
Yeah.
have, which is,
Yeah.
I know why we talk about advocating for yourself, effective
Mhm.
communication, and being selective
Mhm.
with your clinician team. You have the power in who you do and don't want to.
Yep.
But so far what I'm hearing is that, it's who they are. They're just human beings. They look at you as a human being. Yes, this is their job, but based on what you're telling me, this isn't just because you're his patient. This is because of who he is. This is his character. This is how he loves people.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
this is why we love you guys,
Yep.
because you don't make it a job. You understand that this is our life,
Mm-hmm.
and you have found a way to show us love in our lives
Yep.
during the midst of this stuff. Okay, so with that being said, you know, I could really, oh my gosh, I could say my family physician. I could say so many different things. And yes, I love my family physician. I'm not going to really address her right now because she's actually only been in my life for 2 years because my other doctor retired. But the fact that she's been in my life for 2 years and I'm like bigging her up tells you who she is. So there are family physicians that will be out there for us, our chronic pain conquerors.
Right.
But I'm going to go into, because we're talking about, we're going into like some specialties, my neurologist. So, you guys, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I have PNES, which is psychogenic non epileptic seizures, stress emotional seizures, which means that, when had my first accident, Sharif will tell you, or if you've followed me, you'll see that I'll twitch or I'll stutter or I can't think about things. Like my brain will slow down. And a lot of people were like, "Oh, it's the fibro, it's the fibro," and I was like, and some people were like, mm, No, honey, because fibro is pain, and what you're experiencing is not the pain. And it took us, honest to goodness, it took us at least a year, maybe a year and a half, to finally get the diagnosis of what it was that I was what I had. But she went with everything. She came with everything. She came with CT, she came with x-rays, she came with ultrasounds, she came with EMGs, EEGs, EKGs, E something, whatever G's. But she was not going to let me go until we found out what it was. And every time I see her, she always says, Kalila, you are a remarkable woman. And I see you fighting for your life. And you will find a way to get through this. You will find a way to manage this. You will find a way to have your life back. And there are times when you get scared, you guys. When you have nieces and nephews that you've known for 10, 12 years, and all of a sudden you look at their face and you can't remember their name, you get really scared. You feel like you have Alzheimer's at a very young age. And it's more than that, because you're looking at them like, I know who you are, but I can't say something. Or there are times where, you know, the things that we know off by heart, our social insurance number, our phone numbers, how to get somewhere, how to say something, and all of a sudden your mind, they won't let you articulate them. They won't let it come out. Your thinking process is all scrambled up, and this is not who you were
Mm-hmm.
2 years ago before the accident. And you're left with going, what is wrong with me? What is wrong with me? Will I have any normalcy back in my life? And you have someone beside you going, where you're asking every single question, like, what do I do? What am I doing wrong? How do I improve myself? And they just breathe. We're going to figure it out. We're going to do a process of elimination. This may take a little bit of a time, but I'm not leaving you, you know? And we parted ways after my first accident because, you know, we got to the place where we got our answer, and she felt that I had the support system. She didn't even let me go until I got part of the epilepsy, until I was a social worker with the epilepsy um, group with Toronto. And so when she felt like she could hand me over, she was like, anytime you need me, Kalila, my door is open. So after having, some of the bumps that were going on this year with the first two accidents, but then when I had the major accident in August, and all of that came back and worse and worse. That wasn't even it. It was like flashbacking, but then there was extra seasoning in the mess. And I could call her. And instead of having to wait 6 months for a specialist, she was like, get this woman into my door. Get me on the phone with this woman. I didn't have to wait because she knew how much I was fighting for my life. And so if I was reaching out to her, something was going on. And she did the same thing all over again. And we're not finished, you know? And I feel like I'll get an answer. And I feel like, you know, I'm okay. I feel okay going through this journey of trying to figure it out, because someone is taking me through the steps and telling me that I'm going to breathe, and telling me that we may not get all the answers right now, but we're going to keep working on it till we process of elimination.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to send me and give me the prescriptions for the physiotherapy or the massage therapy or the psychiatrist or the psychologist to help me through all of this. And having her in my life helped me start managing things with, how I was responding. But it is, when you feel lost, I don't know if, people are watching the show and whether they have chronic pain or not. But when you feel lost in your life, when you feel like you are moving slowly, you're on the train tracks and you're that little engine that could, and you're moving, you're moving, you're moving, and all of a sudden there's a crack in the track and you're not even on the track anymore, but you're completely off the track and you're just trying to figure out, what do I do? And someone takes you and they guide you through it and they hold your hand through it, and you don't feel frustrated. I could have been frustrated for a year and a half.
Mhm. Mhm.
And every time an answer came back negative, she was like, this is good, Kalila. This isn't your brain going off. This is okay. This isn't X, Y, and Z. This is good. Every time I send you for something and it comes back negative, it's good. And she would explain why it was good, and it would make me feel lighter instead of more
Mhm.
scared. Like, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And she fights for me. She truly fights for me. And her office team is amazing. So we'll get into nurses and assistants on another day, but they're really amazing. And I could not get back up on my feet without the physicians that we have in our lives, without the people that before they even met me decades ago made a decision that they were wholeheartedly going to help people.
Yep.
And because they made that choice, today I benefit, and I have, I'm stronger and am able to manage my conditions, you know, better, a little more better than I would have without this information, without
Yep.
their support. And I think what it is, I think the reason why me and you keep crying is not because we're women. Let me break this down. It's not because of women. Sharifa, we hardcore, trust and know.
We do.
But I think it's because we are humans. We are treated as humans. We are supported in a rough time.
Mhm.
And the bottom line is that these people love us.
Yep.
You know, their heart shows on their sleeve for
Yep.
us.
Yep.
And I think that's what it is. Okay, I can't go anymore because I'm gonna start crying with somebody else. Okay.
I want to just say, you touched on the fact that a lot of, sorry, us chronic pain sufferers do not get, um, are not appreciated and not treated like, human beings or whatever. And sometimes we're just that number. But I think it's also fair to say that there's a lot of amazing, wonderful doctors out there that also do not get that thank you, that do
Yeah,
not get that gratitude and appreciation, even just said by a few simple words. And I feel like this is why we're doing this show today, acknowledging doctors, physician appreciation, because a lot of them go through day after day, don't get the thank you. They don't. And
they
it's
don't.
sad to say, but that's the reality of it.
And so whether you see this today, um, and it's physician day and you're seeing this, whether you see this in 3 months, I don't care if you see this in 3 years. If
Mhm.
what we're saying to you makes sense, if there is a physician that you know goes to bat for you, please make sure that some way, shape, or form you say thank you. And it
Mhm.
can be just saying thank you. It could be that Timmy's or Starbucks cup, you know. It could be just making sure you show up on time and you throw them a joke and you make their life a little bit easier and not harder,
Absolutely.
you
Absolutely.
know. Okay, let's get into our. Are we going into question of the week or the keep it moving moment? I'm lost right now.
We're gonna go into the keep it moving moment, and then we're gonna do our question of the week.
Okay, so you and me, we're trying to find. It was really funny because with our question, not with our keep it moving moment, we're always in a place where we are thinking to ourselves, how do we keep it moving? How do we give you inspiration to keep it moving? But today, what we want to really do is give you a piece of keep it movement moving in terms of gratitude, because you need to be grateful for those that support you, lift you, help you, elevate you, motivate you. And so this is what we have for your keep it moving moment. A truly amazing doctor is hard to find and impossible to forget. If you have somebody in your life like that, who, funny enough, is actually keeping you moving, has kept you to the point to keep you moving, give them a shout out. Give them
Yeah.
a shout out. Send them some love.
Mhm.
You know, teach your family and friends to appreciate those that are around them and to see them, because they don't have all the answers. They are human just like us, and we don't have all the answers, but they do try hard. There are physicians out there that really, really try very hard to make the life of their patients as better as they can.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We did ask this week, tell us some of your health physicians that you appreciate and why. Some of us, you said, your family doctor, because that all around your checkup is detrimental and it just keeps them on track. And that's absolutely correct. The family doctor is someone you see on a regular. And so any little hiccup every so often, you can get right back on track. So I definitely agree with that. Others said a rheumatologist, definitely for me,
Big
a
up
good
to my rheumatologist.
for real, because when those joints start to get, rheumatologist can help you. Let's wrap up the show today with some final thoughts. Kalila?
Okay. Me. Okay. I've said it again and I'll say it again. Um, Even though, if you're a chronic pain sufferer who feels like, you don't have a lot of support, there is always one daisy that comes up in the middle of the weed.
Yeah.
And so reflect on that daisy, appreciate that daisy, you know, smell the roses, as they say. But the same way that you would like to be appreciated as a mother, a father, a friend, a brother, a colleague, a supervisor, anything, take a moment to appreciate someone that has helped you so much. As the saying goes, give flowers while they're still alive.
Yep,
So that is
absolutely.
my ending thought to any physician that you truly, and maybe you may have to sit back and think about it, but for any physician that has helped you, give them a flower while they are still alive and breathing, because you could actually really in fact brighten up their day on a rough day that they're having, just like they brighten up your day when you're having a rough day. So
Absolutely.
that is my final thought. What about you, my love?
My final thought, and you said it so well, I 100% agree. Show your gratitude while you still can. And believe me, two simple words, thank you, goes a far, far long way. I don't want us to wait for days like this where it's doctor's appreciation or stuff like that. If you see them 2 times a week, say thank you 2 times a week. You just never know. And believe me, there are some amazing, amazing, amazing physicians out there. And sometimes, let me say something to you. At the beginning of when I was starting to see doctors on a regular, it wasn't a part of my routine. And I would go to appointments frustrated and the biggest female dog for the morning because I just wasn't having it. I was not having it. But you know what I realized? Amidst my frustration, I too, as a patient, need to understand who I'm dealing with and the type of people I'm dealing with and get to know the people taking care of me because they're not bad people. They're not
And they're
bad
not.
people at all. And it's because we don't take the time to get to know people while we walk away with preconceived ideas. And that's not always right. So just take the time, get to know your physician and have your physician get time to know you. And just when you work together, it'll be all flowers and rainbows.
I'm gonna just add to that because you put a really good point. Like, your physician isn't just a physician.
Mm-hmm.
They're also a family person. They're
Yep.
also a son of a daughter of somebody else. They're
Yep.
also a friend of somebody else. They're also dealing with finances and
Yes.
life. And we expect them to show up smiling on us on point, and we don't give them a space to not be human.
Exactly.
Let them be human.
Yep.
See them as a human. Let them teach you the
Absolutely.
knowledge that they have. All right, Sharice,
Absolutely.
let's end this because I'm all cried
Wait.
out.
Hold on. Hold on. Before we say our goodbyes, Kalila, we have an announcement to make.
We do, you guys. We do. I'm so excited. Tell them, tell them, tell them. I nearly
So
forgot.
today is officially our last episode of season 1, but next week, Tuesday, we officially dive right into season 2 of Chronic Pain
Oh,
Conversation.
baby, season 2.
Guys, clearly, you can see she's not sitting down today. So all her pain
That
business.
hurt, by the way. All of that hurt, but it's okay.
We are so excited, and we want to thank you guys so much for supporting us throughout season 1. From even those of you who have been here from the pilot season to the end of season 1, you guys are so much appreciated. Big up yourself.
Big up yourself.
And don't worry, right? There's no break. We're diving right into season 2, and it's going to be an amazing season. We have so many great things planned. So be sure to keep it locked with us again next week, Tuesday. Are you excited, Kalila?
You guys, listen, when me and Sharifa had this brainstorming meeting, when we came out of it, we were so lit and on fire. I'm waiting for season 2. Let's do this. It is time for us to elevate, my love. Let's
elevate. Absolutely. Well, guys, that's our show today. I'm Sharifa McLaren Thomas from YouTube's The Thomas Life.
I'm your girl, Kalila, the overcomer.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of Chronic Pain Conversations. We'll be back next week, Tuesday at 12 p.m. with the beginning of season 2, and we're going to touch on the topic stress, awareness, and alleviation. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram at CP Conversations. If you are a chronic pain sufferer who would like to share your story, we invite you to be our guest. Visit our bio on any of our social media platforms. Have a blessed day, and remember, Chronic Pain Conversations is the show that enlightens and advocates about chronic pain.